Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of XN Interviews. I'm your host XN. Joining me as always is JX. How you doing tonight, man? Or
I'm
this
doing good.
afternoon?
Yeah, yeah, it's afternoon. That's a new one. I'm
Yeah,
excited to be here.
yeah. You want to go ahead and introduce our guest this weekend?
Yes, man. This guy has been pretty awesome. He's a person who pays attention to the lore. He predicts the future of the game just like me. It's Bowtie John.
Hell yeah!
Well,
Welcome in, Bocha John.
thank you, XN. Appreciate it, and just a privilege to be here, an opportunity to share any insight and helpful to advice to the fellow community members maybe here.
Absolutely. So, what kind of got you started with MCOC, and what kind of got you involved with the community?
Well, really, what got me started with MCOC was like I was talking to Jay just before we got in here, but I'm myself in my 40s, so I've been comic books old school before we had the nice I was pre 8-bit era. And so I read a lot of comic books growing up as a kid, and so I can't remember exactly. I think I had seen one of the recent MCU movies, and then I'd gotten into MCOC just like the same year that it came out. And I was like, okay, this was pretty cool, something different. I'd been playing console games that were Marvel related and even DC related, but this one just caught my eye because it was unique. I don't know, just there was something different about the fighting style, and even just getting to see some of my favorite characters, so to speak, getting to play as.
Very nice. So, who are some of your favorite champions right now?
Some of my favorite champions. Let's see. Even though I only have him at the highest rarity of a 4-star, Captain America: Infinity War. Uh, Beyond that would be Corvus Glaive, and I'm still looking to find other champions within classes because I usually have tried to find one per class that kind of goes. And I guess there is one other champion I'll take back his Human Torch, and I recently got him as a 6-star. So I'm kind of getting new at the thing. I am no dorky Diggity Dave or any other skill MCOCO player, so I'm still learning. But I just like trying out new champions, and those are some of my faves.
Cool. Jay, you got another one over there?
Yeah. So, what got you into looking at the game and saying, oh, this is who I think, like who I predict? What made you gravitate towards that?
Well, I can't remember how long it has been now since they've been putting the State of the Battle Realm maps out. But as I started seeing those, especially once they got those to be more of a geographic map, I was starting to kind of say, okay, what's coming? Start looking at it. What's some ideas? Then I started seeing connections also with the synergies, and then I was thinking, okay, as I saw them also start introducing champions from the MCU, I was like, okay, I want to start getting ahead of this game. I want to start throwing some ideas out because there's some champions that, even though they've introduced a really cool amount of champions, I'm still thinking there's still some more that are needed. Uh, can't imagine who some of those might be. I'm hoping one of those will actually be coming next month. I think Kate Bishop will be really cool.
Yeah.
I think just having these new additions is just something fun, because I was even actually having a conversation with a student in class on Thursday or Friday this week, mentioning how it was always fun to play games where you're the character. That's why the character doesn't talk. You're playing as them, and so kind of the same idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. Funny enough, you're talking about that, like you are the character, and I actually have a senior exhibit coming up, and my main character is in full armor, kind of like the summoner who's in full astronaut suit, and I want people to relate as if you're not looking at a person, you're looking at you in that character. I think it's really cool.
I mean, it takes people back to like a lot of the first person games that were more of what we used to have, so to speak, or even have, I would say, even gotten better with technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is your progression level in game right now?
Progression level is currently Cavalier. Uh, I've been there for a little while, and a lot of it has had to do with just my device and the age of it, and just like I said, I'm not the top most skilled, so I'm learning things. And where I'm currently stuck at is in let's see, Act 6, Chapter 2, Quest 1, and it's life cycle. I've gotten a little bit better at it, but like I said, when the technology started not, so to speak, being able to can be conducive with my device, it made it even harder.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Life cycle is pretty tricky. That's like one of my most hated nodes. um, so if there was like a type of content that you could bring back since you started playing, what would it be?
I don't know if this is necessarily too old, but some of the things that I've seen that have been good was I think this was back when Spider-Ham even came in. They had something similar, and then I think they even did it with last year's with in May. Was I like where you have the store where you can purchase things, you can earn things, and there is a sense of where it's progression based, but at the same time it gives you this variety of things you can spend and see. I don't know, it just seems like the quality of those were always better, and I also liked being able to get the material I needed to purchase that stuff without feeling like it was very grindy or spending more time to get very little. Uh, that's one of the things I feel like Kabam is still working it out, and I hope that they're listening to us as a community and saying, "Hey, this worked, this didn't work." I know that's not always listening to. I don't know if this is necessarily related, but I saw the bundle in the to purchase the emotes, and I was just like, these aren't really going over well in one sense, kind of like with the relics. And it's like, if you're going to push something, I think there's another way to go about it, not saying, hey, community, spend $7, $8.
Yeah, I totally agree on those emotes. I was like, okay, that's a little weird, especially like two of them were they were old emotes that they had already used. So I was like, I don't know if that's really worth it.
Yeah, I did not purchase those.
Yeah, me either.
And that's one of the best ways as a consumer to send a message to the company and say no.
Yeah.
Um, so do you do war at all?
I have done war in the past, but once again, this has become down to a device issue. So I'm now having to get familiar with the iPhone 14, which that's got its own challenges. So I might dive back into it. I did have MVP status a few times on there with the alliance I was with. That was back in 2021. And so I did like it. It's just like I said, once technology got behind, it's one of those ones I've noticed even Incursion was like this as well. It's like you needed the device to be strong enough. Otherwise, just the performance. And when the performance drops or doesn't work properly, you can't enjoy the game in the same way.
Yeah, I could understand that. Um, so I noticed there was a recent bug that the auto enlistment didn't work for some of the alliances, and my alliance was one of them. So I missed the first war of the season.
Well, I noticed they even had was that the same one where you like would click on it, say continue or something, it has something, you click on it, it would go seem like it's going through it and then it would send you back to the same screen.
I do believe there was like an issue. There's like a bug where it keeps going through like the tutorial of auto enlistment. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, visually how it may have looked, but it was a little bit of a pain in the rear.
Yeah, but yeah, they're checking it out. Hopefully, we'll have some news about that soon. Um, I don't know if they're gonna nullify the first war or send out a compensation package or what, but we'll find out soon.
Yeah. I got to play that war, and for some reason, I got 18 defense kills. For whatever reason, my long shot and Kitty Pride just out of the blue got 10 and 8 kills, so I just wanted to flex on that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, Jay.
Don't know why. They were just both ranked 2s. So
I think he's trying to give us some advice.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. Like, I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
We still lost.
Classic.
We still lost the war though.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like, that was kind of depressing.
Well, you did your best.
Okay. So do you do AQ? Are you in an alliance right now?
Currently, I actually have my own alliance. I've done that mainly because when the device issue started happening, I didn't want to be a lag on other people. I didn't want to cause, a burden. And so I created my own alliance so I could still do other alliance-based things to get rewards and such. And so right now it's just myself and I have two other gentlemen that joined me. I think they joined me about almost a month before the banquet event last year. So I'm a very small alliance. In fact, it's got a nice casual name to it. In fact, I think it's Casual Alliance 2021. I'd have to look at
Nice.
that.
Very nice. All right, Jay, you got a couple over there?
Yes, sir. How did you get your name? What's the reason behind bow tie?
Well, believe it or not, I do wear bow ties and I wear them a lot.
Nice.
Not only for my work as a teacher, but also wherever I go formally, I'm always dressed up in a bow tie. I've been wearing them now, I think almost 10 years, and it's just kind of like a very much a trademark of me. And even if you've watched some of I know they're not very high quality videos. I'm still working on the quality of videos on my YouTube page, but as I said, keeping it formal. I just wanted to do something, throw my own little spin on it, so to speak.
Cool. Um, yeah. So, do you want to share what you teach?
Yeah, so I've been teaching science. This is my 8th year of science, and this is my first year of teaching math. I've been doing middle school and high school, like I said, about 8 years, and it's just been a lot of fun because I enjoy those subjects. I'm a nerd, and so my students will occasionally ask me questions even about characters, and I'll even talk to them about some of the science behind it, and could it be possible? What would be the theoretical? And some of my students still want me to do some videos on my teacher page related to science and superheroes. It takes some time, and I'd like to get to that because I was actually inspired. But there's another YouTuber that did some other ones, and I just think it's always fun connecting it. You can have some fun. By the way, I'm just going to say this related to science. I haven't watched Ant-Man Quantumania yet, but I will be.
Awesome.
He's an interesting character. I'm thankful they don't portray some of Hank Pym's more bad side, so to speak. He was not a good husband. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Yeah. I've seen it. I know Exon hasn't. So yeah, we won't go into spoilers. So anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled, but if you have time, go watch it. It's a fun movie. Sets up the future. And yeah.
Well, hopefully, like I said, I'm just hopeful that Phase 5 is going to be better than Phase 4. There was definitely some issues.
Yeah.
There was too much adding without really good development and story, but
Absolutely.
I appreciate Kevin Feige was at least honest enough, and you can see that they're taking back the content number, but they're trying to raise the quality, which is good.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. And they just pushed back the Marvels. I don't know if you saw that to November 10th.
Oh, yeah. Very, like I said, the poster is basic, but for a first poster, I think it's really well done, and I think it's kind of cool because Miss Marvel is kind of more grounded compared to the other two,
Yeah,
and so I think that really works.
I know. I like that like hierarchy. It's pretty interesting. Um, yeah, November 10th, which is I was curious on this because like on my predictions, I had Monica for July.
Mhm.
In Kabam when they were on their Summoner's Choice reveal, they were like, we might switch the schedule around for the end of the year. So I'm curious on if this plays into that. If they're gonna switch out, like say the November month with the July month, or just go ahead and do Monica for July.
I've been kind of thinking about that as well because there's stuff that's kind of just getting me thinking, especially, and I know you and I've had some back and forth both like on some of your videos and on
Hmm.
Twitter, but I'm just like curious about, especially once they reveal an updated state of the Battle Run map, like there's just certain champions I feel if some of them go in certain places, it's gonna change some of my choices for the second half of the year
Yeah.
because I'm just trying to anticipate like where they're gonna fill in. Like I was kind of sad they didn't go with Iron Lad this month. Don't get me wrong, future Ant-Man's uniquely cool, but I just thought it just to me it just felt like they were going in that direction. And I think somebody said recently there's a tag for New Avengers or Young Avengers
Hmm.
1.
Yep. Young Avengers.
So I'm thinking maybe he's still around the corner. Could be next year. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's just some of them are just in so real really weird. But now I'm coming to see your point. I think that I see where Infamous Iron Man probably is going to go in Iron Nation.
Hmm.
I was kind of seeing him maybe somewhere else because I thought they were going to go with a little bit of a different angle. Just maybe the reason I thought, and I know we had a conversation briefly about this, but like that spot in between Latveria and Sector 2099.
Hmm.
And then I realized that it wasn't one of the boxes that had, there's like, I know they have certain question marks that look one way for the future ones and then the ones that are coming a little sooner.
Yeah.
And I was like, otherwise, I think that spot would have been a good spot because I could have seen like there being something added with the fact that it's got the Doom and the Iron Man suit. So, my brain's always probably thinking about this. Even sometimes when I go to sleep, I have to.
Oh, dude, I can relate. Definitely had sleepless nights. Mr. King also a person who predicts the future, and I'll just text him. I'm like, yo, wait, what if this is that? Like, oh wait, I just had like an epiphany. Um, and that one was interesting. I originally had him too, and then like I was like, well, Titania has to go there, and then Azord Man has to go in Department H, so that means, Infamous Iron Man has to go in Iron Nation. But I see the points for, but yeah, there's no border for that spot, so I was like, I don't know if they're gonna start putting characters. Um, well, since we're talking
What
about
I'm also what I'm also curious about, I don't know if you've been thinking about this, but the one spot over on the board, I think it's where the negative zone is and the dark dimension.
hmm
I'm wondering if Clea doesn't come this year, that would maybe she go over there next year, somewhere there.
yeah,
Just throwing that up because I thought when I thought about the dark dimension, I was like, that could work.
yeah, I think so too. Clea was someone that I kind of had predicted before it changed it to Rin Wong.
Hmm.
Before like the when the leaks were saying she'd be a main character, that's what I had her as. And with the post credit scene, if you haven't seen her, she looks amazing. I can share a picture of her actually in the chat. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I've been impressed. I have to say this. Like when I saw the very first MCU movie, we're going back Iron Man back in 2008. I was impressed how well the characters, as far as comic book characters, were looking in comparison. Because someone who I remember going to the movie theater and actually watching Michael Keaton in 1989's Batman. And even that costume wasn't horrible. I mean, but there's some other stuff later that came about. But I'm just impressed that Marvel has gotten at least confident to say, hey, we're going to make these characters look close enough to comic book accuracy and make the necessary adjustments where needed.
yeah,
So I'm curious, Jay, because I feel like we need to mention this. How are you feeling about next month's your predictions?
yeah, I'm very, 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 very confident. I gotta say, I was the most confident on January, and obviously just because we knew, we pretty much knew what they were. But
Hmm.
March with Kate Bishop, they showed Kate Bishop's logo right in the 8 year
Yeah.
in the like right, and then they showed the champions, and then Viv Vision fits with MRock, and they seem to have the Ultra Network. So for me, it like makes so much perfect sense, and uh, DLL confirming he's doing a female champion for that month, and it being International Women's Day that month.
Hmm.
Um, Definitely plays into it, and now we have the Cassie Lang
That's,
synergy, the Young
that's
Avengers
sick kicks.
tag. Yeah, so there's a lot to go for them. Um,
So do you think it's going to be the Viv Vision, or do you think are you having any leanings towards the Viv Prime, or is it kind of just like a up in the air for you there between
yeah,
those are 50-50?
I'm going more. I just thought Viv Prime would. I think I don't want Kabam to waste the resources they made with Viv Prime, so that's just kind of why I put her there.
Hmm.
For all purposes, they could just do Viv Vision, or they could even do two versions. Honestly, that'd be kind of interesting. Like do one
Oh yeah,
playable and one non-playable. That'd be a good way to do it.
that's
So
true.
I'm
Yeah,
just hoping for Viv Prime, but if it's Viv Vision, at the end of the day, I think that's probably who we're gonna get.
yeah.
So it's
I'm
just
still I'm still getting excited about April for some reason. Even I know March is next
that's my
because that one's just it's like it can go either way for
hmm
fun. We can either get like a Spider-Verse champion hero and a villain like we've gotten a lot of previous Spider months or two sinister characters. It's just like either way I feel like it's going to be a win.
yeah.
And even something I was even thinking about. Here's a cool little thought. So, if we got say I don't think they'll do Lizard if they're going to do one of them. I don't think they're going to do Lizard in April, but if they do, they do. But
hmm
Lizard or Sandman is the cool thing is in November, if they did Sandman, I thought that, like the Metallica song, Sandman,
Oh,
and then the element of like kind of scarier, villainous kind of characters in October. So I mean, they have two options to go that way. Just something I was thinking about.
So I'll add on to that because I was going back to last year's October event and Mr. Negative helping out Spot. There's a mystery spot in the Black Iso Mafia next to Mr. Negative, and what if Spot goes there? And now there's 3 mystery spots in the Sinister Lands if you include if you get rid of Spot. So there's 3 in the Sinister Lands now. So
I didn't think of that, but that's
yeah.
interesting.
So that'd be a month of 2 villains and a month of a hero and a villain, depending on where Spidey Strange goes.
Yeah. You know who another one I was thinking? I wasn't thinking Spot in that spot, no pun intended. Um, but you know another one that could go in the Black ISO Mafia. That's a Spider-Man related character, Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but I was just thinking like some of his connections with the Kingpin and the kind of character he is, and especially considering we've the Sony MCU relationship. They've had Ned Leeds,
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of like I think all of us have been waiting for Wong. I think there's other characters now that we're kind of like saying, okay, Wong has come, and you brought this character in. Can you please bring this one in? So I think Hobgoblin would be a great one, and I think even Hobgoblin would work during October.
Yeah. I'm still banking on the new Guillotine character and the Symbiote character doing a crossover that month. I think this is my prediction.
I think it could work. That one could work, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because the theme of the castle for the new arena.
Yeah.
That could, yeah, I could see that. Because even that castle, even the parts of it, like when you go over where the pictures are, it does seem a little darker. So I could see them definitely pulling something off along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been saying like Guillotine and Venom came out the same month, October 2015, so it'd be a cool callback.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, there's
Well,
lots to talk about.
we've been around this game long enough when things like that come up, and we're just
Absolutely. And Exton said Tombstone for the Black Atom off it. Yeah, I had Hammerhead, Tombstone, and Mandarin like going around there before I was convinced to put Spot there. So we'll see what happens. There's lots of cool stuff, and Kabam might be switching the schedule. So hopefully we get a new map in April, and that would be so nice to be like, okay, well, that person, no, we know for sure goes there now. So now let's predict where this other spot.
yeah. And I'm hoping also if they do give us the updated the map in April, I'm hoping they also maybe then decide to give us or at least a little tease of the next roadmap a little bit for the next 6 months, a little bit, or a little teasing of it. I would think that would be nice.
Yeah.
Because I think if Kabam does this in the future, I think splitting up the roadmap into 2 of them, 6 months and 6 months, I think is good because it gets the right kind of tease, still gets people hyped, but it also saves something to also look forward to.
Yeah, and they don't have to commit, which is nice. Like we just saw with the MCU, they're gonna constantly. They don't want to make the same mistakes with the beginning of Phase 4, where you had the pandemic and you had the delayed schedule. So if they do the first 6 months, that's concrete. Next 6 months, well, that's up in the air. So depending on the MCU, so they don't have to not have a weird promotion for the crossover. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially this year. I don't know how it's gonna look next year. I mean, things have obviously the world's changed in that regard, but yeah, I agree. It gives them the freedom and flexibility, while at the same time giving the players something to look forward to. Because I don't know about you, but well, I take it back. I could probably notice it, but you and others, we get excited when these maps have come out. We get excited when these videos come out, like the Fight the Multiverse or the road maps. And I think they need to go along and keep playing with that mark and saying, if the players like this, we're doing good here, keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That's a smart move. And then they could say, what could we expand upon this and, get the community more and more excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell obviously I'm in the CCP, and I always tell them how much I love it. and especially when Kabam left, I was like, oh, please continue this, because he was such a core part of teasing the future. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So hopefully it should be continuing. I think you tagged him on Twitter, right? And then he said he sent in the PDF, the Photoshop files. So
Yeah.
definitely excited to get something new.
Yeah, I don't know if I have Kabam as Rich says, Kabam Mike. I don't know if I have him on Twitter, but I just probably need to tag him and go, hey, Mike, how's it going, sir?
Yeah.
Cyclops would want some more information about the state of the Battle Realm, though. Could you tell us?
That'd be
It's
nice.
just you got to give him a little bit of a hard time. So, something that's also been puzzling me, and this ties back to something we mentioned a little bit earlier. You know how I was talking about like that area? There's the two sections, I think it is, or just one that's below the sector 2099 in Latveria,
Hmm.
and then there's the other spots on the other side of the map.
Hmm.
What do you think about those question marks under Mole Kingdom? That just I don't know. Just I'm trying to think. Are we teasing more Fantastic Four villains?
Man,
What is it?
I am not sure. These maps are always weird because like this is the second map like physical like location based map.
Hmm.
Um, so the mystery spots like Bam gave before it said like one of them's the Cancerverse from a couple years ago, and that never really happened. And
Yeah.
with like yeah you're right, like most of the Fantastic Four characters are over there. Um, the negative risk. So it's so it could literally be anything. I'd hope for like the zombies, like Cancer for zombies. For Fantastic Four.
There's just like I feel like I'm just surprised at how much they've been able to expand this. Like when I'm looking at the map, like that's artistically speaking beautiful, and well it's done. It's not like chaos. It's very nicely organized, but it's like you're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
It's just the reality. Which I think they could almost do something, I don't know, multiverse wise, where they could have multiple maps that come out and you tap on it, takes you to one spot. I don't know. I'm just
Oh yeah. Oh man, they had that on the MRock site, and it was pretty cool, where you could move around the map and click things.
oh
It was
oh
really
I do
sweet.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get to play that game much. It didn't come. It came so short. It
Yeah.
was sad. Felt like it could have had more.
Absolutely. And Gabe was always talking about crossovers, and once they ended, he was like, "Oh, you can expect the Barons to come to the game as NPCs, and they're on the
Hmm.
map, and the locations from Emrock are on the map. Like if you look around, you have like Kingren's Kingdom, the Symbiote Empire. These things were in Emrock that they just put on the map for MCOC. So hopefully we finally get the Barons from Emrock this year.
Yeah, I think they need to do that. Even if some of them, like you said, are just NPCs and play into stories, because I feel like there's probably stories they could develop with those guys.
Hmm.
That way that's a way they could have a crossover, which in a very real way would not require as much commitment in a certain sense, but could still, kind of like where you do little things in like movies, little Easter eggs. It's a kind of a way to nod to the fans and say, hey, we appreciate you and we're showing you some of that kind of like
Hmm.
maybe I'm hopeful. I don't know. We'll see.
No, I'm always optimistic about it. Like I want them to do it, and they're this is their new home. The game is their new home. Like there's no more Emrock. That planet has been said to be deserted. We have the Galactus Horde coming right now, so we had the whole time travel at the end of Emrock. So who knows kind of where they are, how they're here, and whatnot. So, um, but yeah, I was gonna say with Viv Vision, she was supposed to be the Baron of the Ultron House. We kind of have like the new gold pool, the gold low smurks for gold spots. So maybe like we do get three Barons, and it's Pirate Pool, Viv Vision, and maybe even the new Guillotine, since Gabe said the Latvian isn't coming.
Oh,
So that'd be cool.
I have to admit, Pirate Pool would be cool.
Yeah.
And this is kind of going back to my days playing PC. I don't know if you remember this game, Monkey Island.
Not familiar.
Oh man, it was a fun game. It's had a lot of real cheesy humor and such, but it was an old PC game, and yeah, I always appreciate when pirate elements can get incorporated into things without becoming inappropriate, but can give you that good humor that just shakes you up and give you a good cry.
Hmm. And Deadpool's always great. I wonder if they'll make him like I put him as a trophy champ on my predictions just because I'm like, you had gold pool, you had plat pool, you have red gold pool as trophy champ. Like it's
Mhm.
probably gonna be another trophy champ.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw on that post on the forum post, but there was that one of the responders, I think it was to your thread on this for 2023. They were saying, well, maybe Absorbing Man would go into low smirks for gold. He said
Oh
something
man.
about the description.
So I think what he was saying is uh, that he was saying. Okay, he was saying Zorgman is a merc, so therefore he should go on those mercs for gold. That's all he was saying. But
Ah,
I
okay.
didn't really see it.
I feel like that'd be a stretch.
Yeah, that's a yeah. Some people I feel like that's a stretch, and I just don't say it just because I don't want to offend them. So
Well, I would agree with you because I would say one thing is that, and for everyone in here that uses the forum posts, it can be a great resource, but at the same time, some people on there can be very toxic when you try to
yeah,
just have a conversation. And I'm like, if you disagree, there's nothing wrong with clicking disagree or saying I disagree, but can you do it in a civil, respectful manner?
yeah,
I mean, just just sometimes it just like there's some posts like when people respond to me on things, I'm just like, you know what? I just ignore it and move on.
Oh man, I've had some toxic interactions, like trying to explain who's a Kabam original and who's not, and I just eye roll every single time I hear people saying some characters are not original. Like,
Or another thing too is I'll get like somebody will just disagree on a post that has no reason to even disagree, just for the sake of pressing disagree, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, move on.
yeah. Well, let's take a detour, and I wanna ask you about Summoner's Choice. Who did you vote for, and how do you feel about the winner?
Okay, so I started with my voting on Summoner's Choice going with Deathlock.
Yeah.
Um, what was kind of cool about the character was it was one of the few characters when Agents of Shield started that was on there. You know, like I remember when Agents of Shield in the first two seasons, they have had to have real low key related Marvel stuff. Like they had Nick Fury within the first season, and so having a character like that, I thought, oh, this would be kind of cool. Finally getting this character in the game, and he's got his own unique element. Like he's not just the cybernetics with the human like Cable. He's got his own, degeneration, and I just felt like there was so much more. And I think the tech class, even though we've gotten some great champions, we've gotten Ghost, we've gotten Omega Sentinel, we've gotten Warlock, I still think it needs more. I've not been as good about keeping up totals on class numbers. I know Rich the Man, I've seen his postings on that. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, this made me just want to vote for him all the more.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as how it went, I was honestly shocked. Um, 'Cause when it came down to the final two, and maybe I'm just because I was reading Reddit and Twitter and thinking that was going to be the end of it, I really thought White Tiger was going to win. I really thought that. I just was like, I was shocked because I didn't know much about White Tiger. I wasn't against it. Um, even though I know how Marvel even I think says that the Ultimates is not even canon, or at least they've said it before. But I was like, you know what? I'll take it. And so when Gladiator won, I was kind of just shocked. I was like, wow. I was like, this is not bad. I was probably one of the few that I wasn't hugely excited about Spider-Punk. And maybe it's just because we have so many. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the elements of what he could have brought for uniqueness would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I was just kind of, I'm like a little bit having what do they call it? Like Spider-Man fatigue.
Yeah, I was right there as well.
Because between all the Spider-Man we have, and then we have Spider-Man movies, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So I was sad that some other characters couldn't go a little further forward. I think Bullseye could have been possibly a fun champion, even with a skill champion. But I'll take Gladiator. I mean, it's fun because I think hopefully with Gladiator winning, that opens up a new area potential of the battle realm with the Shi'ar more.
Mm-hmm.
I like I said, I wasn't as familiar with Darkhawk in the connection to the Shi'ar. There's stuff that I was more familiar with, just more of older comics, and then of course watching X-Men back in 1997. So it was kind of cool to start seeing things branch out a little bit more. So, but the Summoner's Choice, I think, minus some of the weird comments. Once again, this is a forum thing. Was enjoyable. I think there was a good bit of fun hype with this one. It was definitely a comparatively better one. I've seen some where like last year's with Quicksilver. it was quite frankly boring because I kind of already knew where it was going.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
it's not because I was getting spoilers or leaks. It was just I think everyone could just see where it was headed. And it's sad because there were so many other good champions that could have been brought into the game. And it was just like they kind of put one in there. Instead, what they should have said is, okay, we're going to put him in. Let's vote on another one. I just want to see a little bit more of a competitive edge when it comes to Summoner's Choice. If you throw out some more obscure names in there, or put some really good names that would challenge each other, one way or another, let's have it be competitive so it's like nail biting to the end.
Yeah, I agree. Like I expected White Tiger to win. I'm not mad at all that Glider won. Like from the X-Men show, I was introduced to him, and he was a pretty awesome character. Um, and yeah, like I think this was more balanced than last year. 100%. It felt more like the first Summoner's Choice, where you're like, wow, Mega Sentinel is running for like is in front runner for first place, and it was like that for White Tiger. I was like, I did not expect her to be one of the front runners, and yeah, so she got second place, White Tiger. Hopefully she comes next year. That'd be pretty sweet. But I'm excited for Gladiator.
No, I don't know if you were thinking about this. I did hear you mention you did see the X-Men in the 90s. Do you remember the other characters that they introduced with the Shi'ar? Do you remember Eric the Red?
Yes.
What do you think about him ever coming in? Just throwing that out.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Um, I don't know if he's that popular even in the comics, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know. I think he'd be kind of fun, but I mean at the same time it's like I have to also keep in mind too is like when they bring something in, there's a balance between the obscurity and the popularity because I understand this is a business still to
Yeah.
a certain degree, so
Yeah. I would say probably not. There's a few characters where I'm like, yeah, I don't see them doing that. Um, for sure.
maybe we can talk them into getting you as your as an NPC as Legion in there.
Oh man, that'd be so cool. I kept telling, I'm saying like people ask me like, oh, who do you want for the game for a month? And I was like Legion and Beta Ray Bill for XN. Like imagine if they dedicated a whole month for our favorite characters and be a cool way to tie them into the game. And yes, I would.
Well, I was gonna say
I'd voice
they
act
could
that.
call that they could call that a summoners event,
Yeah,
a true summoners event.
that'd be so cool. XN says
See,
hell
we
yes.
see we just need to get a little campaign going,
Yeah,
post some
absolutely.
stuff, get some videos.
I would love it, man. Anytime we can get something like that going would be pretty sweet. All right, so I know we were on the MCU earlier, but how are you looking for May's event?
For May's event,
Yes, Guardians of the
you know,
Galaxy Volume 3.
I think that's gonna be fun. I hope they don't ruin um, the hype of the whole Guardians because you remember the scrapyard we had?
Mm-hmm.
That could have gone much better.
Yeah.
I mean, we went from what was it, the go in as many times as you want till your fingers get tired, and then the store wasn't much. It, it was better, let's just put it that way, but it was still not meeting the proper expectations. So I'm hoping we get something good, especially with the characters that we have coming in. At least that you and I both believe that are coming in.
Yes, sir, Mr. High Evolutionary and Adam Warlock.
And I think those two just there's definitely Adam Warlock. I see his position, not 100% with the High Evolutionary, but I'm definitely feeling the same vibes in the area with what's it, the Galactic Crossroads, I believe, over just above Darkhawk.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could work
That's where I put him.
because there's just not much else. Like when I'm looking on the board, um, just because like even though he does have his relations with the X-Men, and I was thinking even the fact that he was inspired by Nathaniel Essex, Mr. Sinister, but they just didn't put any spots in, so it just seems to be the next logical spot. But now let me just throw this out. What I think is odd though a little bit is if you notice in that section we have Darkhawk and we have Nova, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are both relatively hero-like characters, right? So he would be the first kind of like villain to go in that spot up in that area. So I'm just kind of wondering. But then again, I think they've moved other characters from different parts of the battle realm and shifted them around, I believe, right?
Yes.
So they could just put him there as a placeholder and then shift him somewhere else.
Yeah, that's
Possible.
exactly my thinking. Um, and Adam Warlock being in Kingred's kingdom is a little weird, not being right next to the Guardians like Mantis next to Gamora, but I think it just works out that way.
Yeah. And I know we're all excited for May the movie, but
Hmm.
excited and sad at the same time.
Yeah, cannot
Because
believe.
there's a lot of people that could be going out more than one or two. So it's hard to say with trailers anymore. You can't trust them, especially after Hulk was in what Infinity War trailer.
Yeah, and now there's a lawsuit where they can't modify trailers to be like that or something. We'll see how that goes.
That's a shame. Once again, I think that's kind of like the forums things. I think people just need to grow up.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you, have you seen the new trailer that was at the Super Bowl for Guardians 3?
Yes, I did. I
Okay.
did.
Did you see High Evolutionary where he's like has his legs crossed and he's floating with his arms next to his knees?
Yeah, that like just and also I even noticed in this trailer, kind of like I think I saw in one of the trailer or pictures for Ant-Man, Quantumania, is I like where we're getting to see a development of both the villains. It feels
Hmm.
like getting to find out more about them. It's not just throwing them in our face, which I think is good because I think that's the problem with sometimes a villain is you can't appreciate or come to have like I hate that villain if you don't have like a character development and like who is this guy?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I was gonna go a different direction, actually, and so he's in his pose and he looks just like Wanda from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse. Like, I
oh,
I'm curious, and obviously if you've read the comics the past couple of years, and why Quicksilver is science is because the High Evolutionary modified them at Wonder Gore, and that gave
ah,
them their powers. And we
and the
had
fact that they did, yeah, we did have Wonder Gore in Multiverse of Madness.
yeah, and you had the actual
Hmm.
statue of the Scarlet Witch on the wall. So I'm very curious on if they're going to connect the two.
Well, also from WandaVision, remember they actually had one of those advertisements was the bovine cow.
Okay.
I don't know if you yeah if you remember that was even because the cow was like I don't know if you remember I think they showed this in the X-Men animated series
Yeah.
where like that was like was the caretaker
Yep.
for Quicksilver and
Uh
so
huh.
I'm almost wondering if they're teasing these things is like are we gonna get some more connection?
Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of people, I was like, I feel like you missed that. I was like, why does he look just like Wanda did? Like like they did Wonder Gore. They showed that cow who helped give birth to the twins.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, and like I think it'd be a cool, it'd be a cool thing. Um, and yeah, it'd be interesting. I wonder if they're gonna do it or not because they made Rocket being. I like what they did. They changed it from the comics because the comics
Yeah.
High Evolutionary had nothing to do with Rocket, but for the MCU he does, and I like that change. But I wonder if that change is like, oh, they're not doing with Wanda. So that's what I'm curious on because they can go either way.
Well, the thing that now that you say that and especially thinking about the trailer too is remember how the fact that they do show that planet that they land on when they're in their like formal Guardians outfits that looks like Earth.
Okay.
My thought is if the fact that it looks like Earth he has to have some connection to Earth
Yeah.
or know of it. And so that I think lends even more credit to that.
I like that trailer too. Is like there's shots where he's younger. Like you can clearly
Mhm.
tell he's younger, and his face isn't modified. He looks human. So it would be pretty cool. Is like early in his career, maybe he makes Wanda and Pietro, and later
And,
on he gets to the more perfected.
and here's a thought too that could also go with this as well. If they keep his inspiration from Mr. Sinister, right?
Hmm.
And since the mutants are coming obviously in later phases, they could even just have a little bit in his backstory teasing him without actually showing the character, but actually teasing and putting a nice little Easter egg in.
Mm. Man, I'm most excited for the mutants. I've always been an X-Men fan first than anything else.
Well, I was gonna say for a lot of y'all, I mean, myself technically included, is like I remember when the X-Men movies came out and the fact that Hugh Jackman is still ever connected with Wolverine, even though the guy is way too tall to be in comparison to how Wolverine at like I think Wolverine, if I remember, is like 5'7", 5'8". He's a fairly short guy. I can relate. Um, So it's really amazing what they did, and just the fact that he played the character so well, and it really gave us those first X-Men movies, even though they had their own problems. I'm the Juggernaut. I'll stop there. But they got us excited, and so I think that now with them taking costumes more serious, character looks, origins,
Yes.
I'm just excited to see what's going to happen.
Yep. And he's returning for Deadpool 3, so that should be extremely fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows what crazy things Deadpool 3 is going to be. Him killing the X-Men universe, him crossing over to the MCU. Uh,
Or maybe he gets rid of just the bad Juggernaut and some other bad characters and says, "Hey, we don't need them.
Yeah,
Let's erase that part."
just clean up the multiverse. The
He'll
bad
go with
Marvel projects.
He'll ask the TVA to help him out, right?
Yeah. I've heard some rumors of like that's interesting that the TVA and Loki have something to do with the movie. That'd be quite interesting.
Oh man. And to think we're only in February. Well, almost the end of February, I guess, technically, because it's over halfway.
Yeah. Man, and we have TV shows. We have Secret Invasion coming up in spring. We have Loki, I think, in the summer. And they just pushed back the Marvels. So, and we have the X-Men '97 show coming out at the end of the year. So some less content than normal, just for Phase 4. And now going to Phase 5, them delaying stuff. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm hoping, like I said, because I think it's been mentioned either by Feige directly, but also just some posts as well, just that they're going for the better quality.
Yeah.
And if, like I said, if after I see Quantumania, if it proves to be, show testimony of that better quality, and just especially with what's coming, if they keep it up and they get back to what they know how to do, it'll give me a little bit more confidence about long-term quality and what we might see, because I want something to last if it's done well, but if it's just done for the sake of doing it, I don't want it to last.
Yeah, that's what I feel about like Sony, because they just make those movies to just keep their what's it called?
Keep the rights?
Yeah, keep the rights, exactly. Like
Yeah.
that's ugh, like exactly. I feel so gross when they do that just to do it.
Well, I never watched the Morbius movie, which I'm glad, because that's probably would have been 2 hours of my life I would have wasted.
Yep, absolutely.
But I did get it. Someone, I don't know if someone posted it somewhere or I saw it on something, but I saw the post credit with the whole Michael Keaton
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
I was like, okay, that made no sense. Oh, Sony made it. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, that that was just a movie, and them like doing these random Spider-Man villains that have like 2 to 10 appearances is like, come on, like if they really cared, and I was like, if they really cared, if you guys are having an issue, like, here, just do this, give Tom Holland back to the, like, keep him in the MCU. You do Andrew Garfield or you do Tobey Maguire, and that's gonna make you your money if you really care. But they just make these weird movies.
Well, I was gonna say the Tom Holland trilogy. If that should show them that that's how you do it. If you do it that way, it works, and people like it.
There's a lot of criticism for those trilogy. I gotta say that's probably the most criticized trilogy from what I've seen on the internet, surprisingly.
Well, I mean, I think I understand some of it, but I just think that the villains, it was nice that they brought back some older villains in the last one, but the previous two, they introduced some villains they hadn't really had, or, well, technically, I guess Mysterio was kind of teased in the Sam Raimi's, was going to be, I think, played by, what's his name?
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. Which,
Vulture as well was supposed to be in Spider-Man 4.
yeah, and so I appreciate it, because I think, like, the Vulture character, I like what they did with that look, versus, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed watching Spider-Man, the animated series in the 90s as well, but what works in cartoon versus live action on some things, you just have to be honest and say it's not going to work the same way, so you have to do something different.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see some guy in green tights.
Yeah, me either.
That could get a little awkward quick. I mean, he would probably look almost more like a Power Ranger villain.
They so I told you that Vulture was supposed to be in Spider-Man 4 or the original script for Spider-Man 3, and they made mechanical wings, not like Vulture's in Homecoming, but it was kind of interesting. It looked like Archangel type of wings. It was pretty interesting. I'll find the pictures of it, but it's pretty interesting.
Well, I was gonna say that may have been. It might have looked better on the concept art than in reality.
Yeah.
one of those things we can go.
Absolutely. Well, is there? I wanted to talk to you about the 8.2 leaked character. Have you seen that?
I remember where I've seen some images. If I remember, I can't remember what's the name of the character. I know it's like the Chrono Serpent corrupted Hulk. Was it right?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? I can't
It
think.
was
It's
Bahamut.
yeah. Oh, that's oh. You know what I was thinking? I thought Final Fantasy VII,
Yeah, absolutely.
but but I think he would be pretty cool. I'll have to just wait and see how. I think it's once again, even with games, when something is leaked, what it just looks like as far as a snapshot versus a visual animations,
Mm-hmm.
how it interacts with characters. Is there a story with it? I just hope it's done well
Yeah, especially
because
like
that's
Cytalis. Him and Cytalis were both in the MRock final cutscene. So
yep.
to continue that is just exactly what I wanted with this integration from MRock to mcoc. So I'm all for it. I'm sure it'll be a great fight.
Now, beyond those two characters, what other characters you think we would have for the remaining chapters of Act 8?
So yeah, funny enough, in my video when they announced Cytalis, I was like Cytalis for 8.1. I said the Bahamut for 8.2, the Punisher for 8.3 that they showed who killed the Maestro, and or well at least killed him after he was reanimated. You get what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
8.4, the head of the Chrono Serpent, he's still incomplete. So if it is, it's not gonna be like I feel like it's not gonna be a one fight type of thing. He's still incomplete. He may have like kind of messed up Battle World and whatnot. But
Mm.
if he finds his other fragments, and imagine like he's supposed to be the big bad, the end game of the game of this game. They teased alliance raids, like boss raids or alliance boss raids against Galactus. They haven't said anything since they announced that. But the Chrono Serpent, if they maybe scrap Galactus and go for that instead, that'd be what I'd hope for.
I'd be surprised if they did that. That's because, not saying it couldn't, but it's just one of those things I've kind of like. I try to set my expectations. Like that would be super cool, and then
Yeah,
at the same time you go, might not happen because I know there's still been a lot of humorous conversations about wish crystals that still show up
yeah,
in the forums every now and then. And while I admit they would be fun to have, I think there's so many ways to get stuff now, and especially 5 stars are easy to get, and 6 stars are moving that direction, especially with the battleground stuff. Even though I'm not a huge fan of battlegrounds, mainly just maybe it's more I've just haven't gotten used to it and some of the meta and other things that have been going on. But Kabam has definitely started to make things available, so I'll have to just kind of wait and see
hmm
and hope. And if they give us alliance rates, if they do that, and that becomes some, they could do it. They could have a permanent version of it where it's part of the story, but maybe they could have an element to it where there's a monthly element to it. There could be something. I don't know. There's stuff they could do with it. It's just I'm gonna wait and see if it does come and hope that they'll be at least willing to listen to us because we're the ones. Even though I get it. It's their game. They've made it. We're still the ones interacting and playing with it and really experiencing the good and the bad. So as long as they listen to the community, which is something I've seen they've done sometimes better than others. So I hope this is one of those that they do listen and they learn from.
yeah, 100%. And I hope it comes, but at the end of the day, we haven't heard anything since they announced it, so you kind of expect it not to come at this point.
Yeah, if anything, I'd rather them just not say anything and then they implement it and surprise us.
hmm
That's fine.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah,
I'll take positive surprises all day long.
yeah. Moose says I was bummed that they never implemented the raids that were in the Transformers games. It worked, I think. Okay, the other game just shut down, so I'm not sure. I think compensation actually is supposed to come later this month, so hopefully that's good for anyone who played the game and linked their accounts.
Yep. I did not play,
I didn't
and
either.
it's just I've been like I said, it was kind of like I think I heard about that one and Imrock both, and it was like going to get into those device issue, and then all of a sudden it's just like dead, and I was like, oh, that's sad,
Yeah.
because like some of the stuff I saw, some people posted some videos or some stuff I read on it, I was like, that sounded cool, and just a shame it just couldn't go further.
Yep, absolutely. Hope contest keeps running, man. Don't know what I'd do without this game, to be honest. At least channel wise.
Well, just tell them they need to ask us, the community. Because I mean, there's enough of us that either post stuff in the forum, on Twitter, or on YouTube. There's enough people that if they're willing to listen, and Kabam Jax has been one of the ones that's definitely been better about that comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
If they just listen, it will definitely benefit them long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And CHP are
And,
always
and
giving back feedback, so they're always listening and implementing stuff. So it's pretty sweet.
and after all, we're not asking for a fee. I mean, if they
Yeah.
want, I can charge one small one. But
Well, all right. I wanted to ask you, like, what are you most excited for in the future of the game?
as far as the future of the game, I hope the story is not we're not just going to keep getting Act 1, numbers. I don't mind that, but I hope there's something more. The variants were fun. I have not cleared them all, so I've still got some of those to work on. Fun in-game content was always good when they added, still remember ROL, LOL, Abyss, so I hope they continue to implement fun stuff like that. And then, also, like I mentioned earlier, I hope they continue to still put in those during the monthly events they have where you can earn a certain currency and buy certain resources. And I just hope that even maybe they think of, some other way to further develop duels and arena. I mean, they've definitely made some changes there, but I wish there was more of a, how we typically battle other summoners, but more like they're more like generated, so to speak. I mean, I think this was a server issue. I think they mentioned before, but I wish there was something they could develop on that. And I'm just looking forward to seeing more champions come out and just us correctly guessing them.
Yeah.
So we can so if anybody does get toxic with us on the forums, we can just go, well, you may not like it, but proof's in the pudding.
Yeah. Absolutely. I got so many things. It's like, I have like an 80% correct guess rate. Like, if you want to disagree, you can disagree all you want.
Well, here's the thing too, right? Is like you and I, and I've seen others, Mr. King too, right? Is that we don't just like pull this out of our rear.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
we're looking at synergies. We're thinking about comic book history. We're looking at what's developing in the story. I mean, there's just so much that we're putting in there, and it's like at least just be respectful to us. We don't expect to be perfect. If we're wrong, we get it wrong. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Absolutely. Especially like my favorite things are when people are mad that I guess a character and I'm like it's just who I think is coming. It's not like there's nothing saying I want this character, or if it is, it is what it is. The game is going to have these characters regardless, and it's just so funny. People are pissed at me for for guessing a character. I think it's just funny.
Maybe you need to make a video. You and XN can make a video together, and you look like you're going to up to Canada to see Kabam, and you're saying, "Hey, these are the characters that should be. Let's just play it like this." I can get some. I can get some of them. Just do a nice little pun video. I think your audience would love that.
Oh yeah, I'm not,
Some
I want to plan actually going up there soon, so that'd be pretty sweet. Super Duper Boost said Jay is not allowed to get it wrong. The universe doesn't allow it. I wish
is it
sometimes.
because Jay is a Nexus being?
Yeah. Oh man, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, you can tell we're Marvel nerds. What can we say?
Well, I wanted to ask you, what is the character you want to come to the game? Like, who's your most wanted character?
Yeah, most wanted character. It was at one point was going to be Thor with Stormbreaker, because I just thought that would have been cool looking. But the more I've thought about it, who I'd really want to see is I actually want to. I was gonna say, who is it? Why am I can? Where's his name? Where's his name? Oh, the Chameleon. I
Ooh.
don't know why, but I just think something about the character would be cool. I know he's similar to Mystique, but he has some other elements to him, and I'm just excited. Ever since I saw what they did with Quicksilver and Craven, I'm just getting excited about like the stretching of the dynamics and the mechanics of the game, and thinking, once they implement this, what else can they implement?
Yeah, I would like some new characters that really push Hopefully don't break the game, but really push the game to introduce these characters. You're like, oh, that's a new mechanic. I would love to get this character because they do that. Like Absorber Man, one of the first character that actually changes textures. I mean, that's pretty sweet. Like he was fantastic to look at animation wise, and you're talking about Chameleon and Mystique. Like we have Spiral, um, other characters that definitely could push the boundaries of the game, which would be sweet.
Well, I'm even curious if Sandman comes in, like, will they do? Could they could also do Hydro Man, and that's even got some unique elements of changing size, moving around as sand or water.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still things that it's going to be really interesting to see. And I agree with you. I don't want it to be pushed into there when they're not ready. So I appreciate they're at least honest. They want to do it, but it's like getting there. Maybe they just need to call Nick Koss and just have him do some work with him. Because I have to admit, those last few ones he put up were just more amazing work done.
Yeah.
And
He got 2099. That was sick.
now, how about this? Wouldn't this be a fun character they could put in? You remember how they gave us what was it, Steve, the symbiote, little symbiote we got? What if they put in the summoner character?
As a playable character.
I think that would be a fun playable character. And they could even do in some incorporation is like when you play as that character, since it's yours and it's under your name, it could have your name on it. Like, I don't want to stretch things too far, but I just thought that'd be a kind of a fun little humorous character because we all appreciate the little symbioids. So, I mean, I think something like this, once again, it's the summoner's choice, summoners, and I just think that'd be fun.
Yeah. That reminded me of the 6-year video where you're fighting and the summoner throws the crystals and the character pops out of the crystals. Like that could be like
Oh yeah, like a special move.
yeah, exactly. You throw the crystal and then like the character comes out of the crystal, and it's even like the relics, how they have the striker. That'd be really sweet.
Well, see, if we guess this, somebody's gonna be mad when it does come out.
Probably. Anyone, there's so many people who are like, if they do, like, Spider Supreme, like, people were mad that I did that, and I was like, he's a Marvel character, but they were saying because they thought Kabam created him, that's why they were mad. So anytime Kabam do a non-Marvel character, quote unquote, they get pissy. So.
Well, they have to realize, considering how many we've gotten that have been non-Marvel characters compared to ones we've gotten that are Marvel, they can calm down. It's okay.
Yeah, this year, or last year as well. Like we got just Gallon, who in then was a variant of Galactus. So there's not too much to complain about on that front. Well, I want to talk about buffs real quick. Who's your most wanted buff?
I'm gonna say it's gonna have to be definitely one of the original champions. There's I don't know what they've done with some of them, but I think either Superior Iron Man, that would be a nice one to get a buff, because he's one of the top-rated meme champions.
Yep.
Him and another one that I think would be a good buff, and maybe they could time this buff around when Secret Wars comes out, is the Symbiote Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because it just blows me away that two characters that are iconic to Marvel, strong characters, as we see both in comics and even movies, and popular, that you make them a joke. Yeah, it's just let's get them working.
Yeah, Symbiote Spider-Man is actually my favorite Spider-Man of all time. So you had the post-credit scene of No Way Home, and I'm like, yes, I don't know when I'm getting that to pay off, but whenever it does, I'm gonna be so excited for it. So.
Yeah, I really do hope they pay that off, because I feel like I remember there was part of the symbiote when he went back, but there was a part of it left like at the bar table, and I feel like they could use that element to have an MCU Venom, or they could do another one. There's ways to go around things that if they just play it right, and then we'd actually get the actual proper Spider-Man logo for Venom.
Oh yeah. I really think Secret Wars is going to be that thing, and especially now that they're going to do all these multiverse stories, and Secret Wars, if you're talking about the second Secret Wars with God Emperor Doom, it's collapsing the multiverse and putting everything into an amalgam planet, the battle world, and then once Secret Wars is over, the multiverse is rebooted. So there's so many options that they can go with and start telling stories as an integrated not not really defined by the laws they created for themselves when they started the MCU, where you weren't allowed to do these characters and not those characters, etc.
And so much has changed, and I think it's the best way to make things survive. I'm a little interested to see what James Gunn's going to do with DC,
Yeah.
because DC, it's definitely had its fair share of problems.
What'd you think about the Flash trailer? Have you seen that as well from the Super Bowl?
Trailer looked interesting. I thought it was actually funny seeing Michael Keaton's Batman
Yeah.
in the trailer. It was like that was very nostalgic for me because I remember that movie came out and I would have been what, like 7 or 8 years old. So uh, yeah, it's just weird, and plus I'm just it's the sad thing is there's so much baggage that's behind Ezra Miller. That's the shame.
Yeah. I was expecting it to suck just because of that, and once you finish the trailer, like, holy wow, that was pretty good. So it was pretty interesting. The DCU has an interesting rep, or the DCEU has an interesting rep, and then now do the DCU with the Flashpoint rebooting it. Hopefully, they learn a lot from the MCU and learn a lot what's going wrong with the MCU as well, and hopefully they plan a nice connected storytelling universe like the MCU did. Project from project. It was all integrated in Phase 1.
Yeah, don't I hope they learn, don't be afraid with comic book costumes. Don't be afraid to make the necessary changes, either origin or character look, as long as it's done well. There's little things that I think the MCU definitely learned along the way. Still, Iron Man 2, we all remember that. That was interesting, to say the very least.
Yeah.
Because, they had the Crimson Dynamo, like, Whiplash mix, and the character just wasn't exciting. I mean, you can make an amalgam of characters. You can do that. But you got to do a good story and a character that you appreciate. Like, I actually appreciated the character of Justin Hammer more than him, and he was kind of just pushed to the side.
Yeah. Yeah, the actor is like, I'm ready to come back. Come on, Marvel, get me in there. I'm like, yes, I want that too.
I'm hopeful he's going to come back during Armored Wars, especially since they're making that into a movie. Just because they've already brought back Blonsky. So I'm hoping they'll bring back and they're bringing back, what's the guy for the leader. So I'm hopeful to bring back some of these characters that didn't get further developed and just move forward with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously with Iron Man being gone and Rhodey, taking up his stuff, we also have Ironheart. Like, I'm ready to, like, be connected back into the Iron Man part of the MCU. It's gonna be cool.
Oh yeah.
Do what with the DC did? Does it start with the Flashpoint? I believe so. It does start with Flashpoint, and then they are continuing stories like Waller. They're keeping the same. So hopefully the DCU, like I said, will be great, and the MCU to continue being great. I mean, like I said, I liked Quantumania. We'll talk spoilers another time for sure, but it was pretty awesome.
Hopefully I'll finish it, get into it this week, and get to see it, and I try to see it within the first early weeks, and just do some assessment. But yeah, I promise I'll post either on Twitter and let you know, or I'll post in one of your videos and say, you can talk about it to me now. I'm good.
Yeah, just message me. Well, all right, man. Well, I think that's gonna do it. Is there anything you want to shout out? Any future content you're planning to do, or on your YouTube, or theory crafting, or whatnot?
Well, kind of what I'm thinking about doing, especially with an upgraded device, just going to start looking at content to do again. I probably will do some crystal openings initially just to get started, but I'm thinking about even maybe doing some videos when I go through Act 6, Chapter 2 and beyond. Just because I think it's good, especially from someone like myself who's not as experienced and skilled. I would just like to be able to contribute to the community to show others that you don't have to have the greatest skills. It's just you have to be willing to put in the hard work. And I just want to show other, community members, because I know sometimes when they watch maybe like videos, we can think of some people like mcoc Noob, Rich the Man, Seaton, which has made his new account come back. We see people like that and they're like, wow, that's got to be how I am. And it's like, you have to just remember that everybody plays at a certain level. And I'm thankful for each various community member, yourself included, that post videos, because we get different elements. And so I just think that, community members, let's keep sharing. Let's help one another out, and let's help keep the game alive. That's part of keeping the game alive. Let's show the genuine interest, and let's actually motivate and let's stir up Caban's interest. Like, oh, look what they're interested in. Let's join them.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. It was a pleasure, and we can always have you on again whenever that new State of the Battle map comes out. Hopefully.
Yeah. Speaking of which, have I sent you my recent link on the map? The one I did an updated possibility map.
On the forums.
I don't think I posted on the forums. It's the one. Remember, I gave you the Google Drive link.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If I need to send a link, just let me know, because
Okay.
I think I'm gonna do some more updating, do some shifting around, and hopefully Kabam gives me something more to work with, so we can really, like you said, get into that map. Because I don't know, I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, no, I do have that link on here. So that's sweet. I'll check that out.
And just if you hear of any synergies, any other new synergies or anything thought, just let me know, and we can work on a document like we did for last year.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'm already gonna use that same design to update it for this year. For
Because
sure.
that body snatcher one, that got me excited.
Oh yeah. I actually put how I move Spot. I put Superior Spider-Man where I put Spot before, so he's in the sister lanes
Oh,
for me.
okay, okay.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. Hope you guys all have a great afternoon or night wherever you live. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody.